The number of mortgage applications fell 3% in the past week as interest rates jumped. And joining us now is Shari Olefson, who is the author of Foreclosure Nation and director of the Carnegie Group. Also staying with us today is Brian Reynolds. Shari, kick it off for us, because we have seen a very mixed view across the housing sector. How specific is it depending on the local economy?
Is that those areas that were hardest hit are actually, in many cases, rebounding hugely in terms of the prices. That's where the investors are focusing. Groups like Blackstone specifically are focusing on regions like Florida and California and Arizona for their investments. And yet, the prices are still about 20% below peak in a lot of those areas.
That's true, actually. I was talking to someone yesterday who was saying to me that if you bought in 2004, 2007, in that period, you'd be still underwater in your investment. So there really isn't a bubble in housing forming just yet, is there?
I don't think so, not yet. In fact, part of that is driven by really low inventory. That's what's driving up prices. But we're also seeing prices depressed a little bit because some of those sales, about 18% of those sales, are still distressed sales. So, you know, the wages, the problem we have are wages are just not keeping up with these rising prices, but a majority of these purchasers are still investors who are counting on rental income. So we are seeing those increases in rental. We're not seeing prices that are exceeding the affordability indexes yet, but they're on target for that. When you have increases like 15% in a year, you know that's just not sustainable.
Brian, weigh in here, because we've seen REITs on Wall Street lose some of their appeal as interest rates have started to rise. Do you think the housing sector is going to be under pressure from here in terms of those institutional investors buying in?
Well, again, the question with this rise in rates is it a buying opportunity or a selling opportunity? And the REIT space has been especially hard hit in the equity space. And my sense is that institutional investors are going to view this as a buying opportunity, put more money into both commercial and residential real estate, especially into the REITs. And so I think this is just a little blip in what is the beginning of an uptrend for housing.
I appreciate the time today. Thank you very much for joining us. Brian Reynolds, Chief Market Strategist at Rosenblatt Securities, with us. Also, Shari Olefson joining us, author of Foreclosure Nation and director at the Carnegie Group. And that's it for today's show. I'm Karen Cho. Thanks for watching Worldwide Exchange. And don't forget, coming up later on CNBC, Goldman Sachs CEO Lord Blankfein and former US Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson. You can catch both of those interviews on Closing Bell from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Let me leave you with a look at US futures and how the market is setting up the trading session.